Before the balance of the Ottoman palace can even settle, a new storm begins to rise. Excitement, fear, and curiosity move through the palace corridors at the same time. Because now, people are not only talking about the rise of a ruler, they are witnessing the birth of a legend. The history of love is about to be rewritten. That night, Sultan Suleiman has only one person on his mind, Alex. He wants to see her again and orders that she'll be brought to him. But in the palace, destiny rarely follows a simple plan. Sultan Suleiman expects to see Alex when the doors open, but instead, Mahidevran walks in. The reunion she's been waiting for finally happens. Her eyes are filled with longing, excitement, and a hint of nervousness. Suleiman is briefly surprised because she is not the person he expected. At that very moment, in another corridor of the palace, Alex rushes forward. She has received the Sultan's summons, and her heart is racing. But palace rules move faster than fate. The palace guards stop her at the last second. She is prevented from entering the Sultan's chamber. A misunderstanding, a small delay. But in the palace, no mistake is ever small. And the responsibility for this confusion falls on one man's shoulders. Hurrem Sultan Suleiman is furious. He summons Ibrahim, and his harsh words echo through the palace walls. Everyone understands how disciplined the new sultan truly is. This is no longer a conversation between childhood friends. This is a sultan speaking to his servant. Ibrahim bows his head. His loyalty is unshaken. But this moment reminds him how fragile the balance of the palace really is. There is another person who deeply feels the weight of these events, the valid sultan, the unseen power of the palace, the voice of experience, the guardian of order. She decides to speak with her son. Perhaps for the first time, she approaches him not as the sultan, but as a mother. Yet the reaction she receives is not what she expects, because Suleiman is no longer just her son. He is a ruler now, and rulers sometimes keep distance, even from the ones closest to them. Meanwhile, outside the palace, decisions that will shape the empire are being made. Sultan Suleiman calls for an envoy. He decides to send a message to Europe. The letter written to King Louis of Hungary is not just diplomacy, it is a challenge. Suleiman openly declares his ambitions. He hides nothing, and then he announces his next goal, Rhodes, an island that has resisted conquest for years, a fortress that many sultans tried but failed to take. Sultan Suleiman is determined. Rhodes will be conquered. In another part of the palace, a very different story begins to bloom. Hattus Sultan sits alone in her chamber. Suddenly, the sound of a violin fills the corridors. The melody is so beautiful that she becomes mesmerized. She follows the sound through the halls. Doors open, and she finally sees the musician. Time slows down. As she watches the violinist with admiration, she realizes a new feeling is beginning to grow in her heart. Love in the palace is not only the Sultan's story. Meanwhile, the most turbulent story in the palace accelerates. Sultan Suleiman summons Alex again. This time, they finally meet, and Suleiman gives her a new name. Alex no longer exists. Her new name is Hurrem. The news spreads through the palace like wildfire. Whispers grow louder in the corridors, because in the palace, rising too fast is always dangerous. Hurrem's sudden rise makes many people uncomfortable, especially one person. Mahidevran, the balance of power in the palace begins to shake. And to protect that balance, harsh steps are taken. With the support of the valid sultan, Mahidevran gives Hurrem a severe punishment. This punishment is not just a warning, it is a message. But Mahidevran is not finished. She confronts Hurrem and offers her a deal. There is a way to escape this punishment, but only under one condition, a condition that will decide Hurrem's fate. Now the choice belongs to Hurrem. Will she submit, or will she start a war? While all of this happens, Sultan Suleiman knows nothing about Hurrem's punishment. He sends for her again, but Hurrem is nowhere to be found. What will happen when the truth comes out? How will Sultan Suleiman react when he learns Hurrem has been punished? What will this revelation do to the fragile balance of the palace? The storm inside the palace is now unavoidable, and just as the balance inside the palace begins to form, the real storm is only getting started. Make sure to stay with us to discover what happens next in this story. Share your thoughts with us, because every comment opens a new door on this journey. See you in the next episode.